Good morning and welcome. My name is Lori Gasper and I'm the Ag Coordinator here with the Sunwest Distance Learning Center, and we are going on a virtual field trip today. We're so glad that you could join us. We're going to go to the Rayner Dairy Barn today in Saskatoon, and we're going to be spending about 30 minutes with our tour, including time for questions today. We want this to be really interactive, so if this is your first time joining us, welcome. We would love it if you feel comfortable sharing. You can see the chat or comment window on the side of the screen. We'd love to hear where you're joining us from today and what grade you're in. So please feel free to share throughout the time that we're together today. While you're doing that, I'll welcome our first guest, which is Melissa Glay, who is a teacher here at the Distance Learning Center and also works with Ag in the Classroom Canada. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Lori.
How do you feel about getting some dairy today?
I'm super excited for this field trip today, Lori.
Me too. I love dairy. What's your favorite dairy product?
Oh, that's a hard one, but I think ice cream probably takes the cake.
It's hard to beat ice cream, but butter makes everything better.
That is true. It is true.
Well, it's going to be a great day. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome everybody and introduce our featured guest today. Emily Morabito joins us from Sask Milk and is at the Rayner facility today.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning, Emily. How are you this morning?
Morning. Very good. It's a little chillier than I was ready for, but very good.
Awesome. And you're at the Rayner Dairy Barn, which is not like a typical dairy barn. How does it look this morning?
Right. So I'll give you guys a little overview. This is like a view from where I'm standing right now. So the Rayner Dairy Facility is actually on the University of Saskatchewan campus. So I'm in the middle of Saskatoon right now. And we have this public walkway so that people just could come visit the Rayner Center. It is unfortunately closed right now, which is why we're on live. But we have two different types of milking systems here, which is pretty unique. It is a research facility. So we have a conventional milking parlor where people milk the cows. And we have a robot that actually milks the cows. So I'll take you from one end to the other and explain some stuff about cows along the way, if that's okay.
That sounds great.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're going to start here. This is the conventional parlor. So cows get milked in here 3 times a day. They'll come on these sides here. And then in the center part, it's kind of hard to see, but it's actually lowered down. So the people will be standing underneath the cows so that they can really get under and attach the milking machine and do the milking process that way. So
how many times a day do they do that?
3 times. They'll do it really early in the morning. They do one around lunchtime. So just before, actually right after we get off, they'll be getting ready to start milking. And then once again at night. So 3 times a day, the cows come through there.
And how long does it take to milk a cow?
It's about 5 to 7 minutes. Some cows are faster than others with this conventional system. Unfortunately, that side that the cows are on, they have to wait for their friends to be finished. So sometimes there's a little bit of a line up there. But I'm going to take a little stop here, if that's okay.
And while you're doing that, I just want to let you guys know that we've got folks from Lumsden, we've got folks from Rosetown, from Hudson Bay is even here. So it's great to see you guys. So thanks for joining us.
Wow, that's so exciting. Thanks for coming. So this is what's called a Freestyle Facility. I'll walk around a second just to get a different view. But what this is it allows cows to get up and walk around freely. There's somebody right underneath me. Can you see her?
Oh yeah.
She's getting to drink some water probably. So they're able to get up, lay down, drink water whenever they want to. It's a really wonderful facility type. We also have some other things in this facility, like these brushes. It's kind of hard to see. Is it in your view?
Yeah.
The green ones.
Yes. So it's green and white. And what will happen is the cow will actually come there. She'll push up on the brush and the brush will start rotating. And that rotating will help clean her and give her a little bit of a scratch. So they really, really like those. I'm sure, hopefully we'll get to see one this time.
So Emily, you mentioned that she was drinking water. How much water do you think dairy cows drink in a day?
So they produce, on average, 30 liters of milk. Milk is made up of a lot of water. So they need to drink 80 liters of water a day. So that's like if you were to fill your bathtub up, that's about how much water they drink every day.
Wow.
Lots of water. So Speaking of water, they do need to get rid of it. So we have these systems here to keep the facility really, really clean. So when the cow goes to the bathroom, it'll go into the aisle, and then that U-shaped thing right there, it'll lower down to the ground, and it's going to push the manure all the way to the other side of the facility and out into the storage unit.
Can you show us that again, Emily? Can
Sure.
you show me that scraper just again for a sec?
Yep.
So that scraper is really a manure sweep. It really...
Yeah, we have a lot of people that call it the manure squeegee.
The squeegee.
Yes. So it does exactly that.
So you've shown us how the cows have those stalls, and they're fluffed up with a fair bit of bedding there.
Yeah, so I'm going to take you just to a little bit of a better view.
Oh, great.
So we can see the shavings. Oh, somebody is very much sleeping right now. So that cow, she's like in the second one. She's totally sprawled out. They're really,
That's how
really
I feel this morning.
Me too. That's where I wish I was this morning. So they have a lot of deep bedded shavings. You guys could see how fluffy and clean it is. Dairy farmers do a really good job making sure that their facilities stay really clean. This helps the cows stay comfortable and make sure that they rest for a long time. So cows typically, or we aim to get them to rest for about 12 hours a day. So farmers really need to make these stalls look appealing and comfortable for them. So
Emily, you've said how we have lots of bedding, and we make sure to have the scrapers cleaning the manure, and we also want to have scratchers in place. So having comfortable cows is really important. Why is that so important? Is it just because we want them to be happy like us, or is there
That's part of it. It's part of it. So we want them to be happy, but it actually helps the farmers. So comfortable cows produce more milk. And you can actually tell if a cow is uncomfortable or not happy if she's not producing as much milk as she normally does. So it's something I'll talk about a little bit when we get to the robot. We're able to monitor what they make and decide if they need extra special attention or not. So I'll give you guys one more view of the shavings.
Awesome.
So they might be doing something with the feeder, so let me know if it gets a little too loud.
No, you're doing good.
Okay.
You sound great. We're doing great for time too, Emily.
Perfect. So this is my favorite place to stand in the Rayner Center. Again, I can't wait till it opens back up so you guys can come see this in person. But right now what we're doing is we're crossing from the Parlor side. So this side of the facility is where the cows get milk 3 times a day, over to the robotic side. So a couple of things I want to point out while we're in this area. There's tons and tons of food on the ground. Can you guys see that on the sides?
Yeah.
So they have this available to them 24 hours a day. So because they're in this freestyle facility, they can come and they eat whenever they want to. But cows have a really, really complicated stomach. So they have 4 compartments in their stomach. So it's a very complicated system. So nutrition and feeding is an incredibly important job for dairy farmers to manage.
Awesome. And Emily, you might have already said it, but how many dairy cows are in the Rayner Center at any given time?
So we're at around 110 any given time in this facility.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some more on the conventional side than there is on the robotic side.
Emily, you just mentioned about the cows having complicated digestive systems and a stomach with 4 compartments. I wonder, I know we've got lots of farm kids joining us and some that aren't from a farm as well, but one of the things that might be interesting is, have we talked about chewing cud?
We haven't. I'm going to see if I can get a cow that's doing that. So we're actually going to head over to the robot side right now.
Awesome.
I'll see if I can get a cow that's chewing cud. But in the meantime, let me know if you can see this. We do have a cow that's using a brush.
Oh, yeah.
So she's
happy.
Yes. She's pushing on that brush and it's spinning and she's getting a good little scratch out of that.
That's awesome.
I know, they're my favorite. But let me see if I can get a cow that's chewing her cud. It might be a little bit hard to see up here, but that white, mostly white cow, she's chewing there. So it kind of looks like she's eating something, but they're actually chewing food that they've already eaten. So sounds a little bit gross, but cows, they eat, goes down, and because of their complex digestive system, they'll actually send that food back from their stomach into their mouths and rechew it.
Okay.
And they do that because then cows can digest things that humans can't.
Right. So cows are able to, like, we could eat grass and stuff if we wanted to, but we're not going to get anything out of it. But cows can take stuff like that and turn it into energy, which is pretty fantastic.
Cool.
So that's awesome.
Well, I'm excited to see the robotic milker.
All right. We are here.
Awesome.
Yes, this cow is really loving getting her head scratched. Okay, so this is the robotic milking area. So I'll kind of get a different view so you can see the robot better later. But this little pathway here, this is where cows are going to enter in. They are going to go to that sorting gate that's right next to my finger. And that gate is going to either put them back out into the stalls or back into the milking machine. So the reason that that happens is because sometimes cows will go, they can get milked as much as they want in this system. The other system, they get milked 3 times a day always. This system, they get milked 2 to 3 times a day, depending on how many times they want to. But sometimes they try to go through the system an extra time. That's the milker right there, the blue thing, just to get a little snack. So the machines are pretty cool in knowing which cows have been milked.
And how does the machine know which one's been milked?
So the cows actually have on these collars. So you're kind of hard to see, but around their necks, you might be able to see there's like orange tags, but they have these collars that the machines actually read, and they are able to get all the information off of those collars. So it'll know when they've been milked. It'll know how much they've been milked. So I can show you this screen here. It's kind of probably hard for you guys to see.
No, we can see that.
There is a cow getting milked right now. So this is live data from her being milked. It shows how much milk is actually being produced in each quarter. And it will actually like alert the farmers if there's something wrong or if that cow hasn't gotten milked that day. So these machines are really, really smart, and they help us take extra good care of the cows.
So you're saying that sometimes they'll go through more than they should because they get a treat when they're in there?
Right. So there is a cow in there right now, and you can see she's having a little snack. So sometimes, yeah, it gets a little exciting that it's not the same stuff that they're eating out in the aisle. It's a little bit more of it'd be like getting a granola bar instead of broccoli.
Okay.
I think we actually have a clip that we're going to show a little clip of the cow coming out of the milker.
Perfect.
So we'll go ahead and show that so people can see how the robot opens up after she's done milking.
Awesome.
Here is actually live. So that's what that cow just produced. The number on, I'm going to mess this up because I only know it when it's moving. The number on the bottom is what she's produced today. The number on the top was predicted. So she produced 19.7 today, but she's actually predicted only to produce 17. So it's a way for us to monitor how much she's producing. If she's producing a lot less or a lot more, the farmer has to check out and make sure everything's okay. So a lot of tech.
That is so cool.
So actually, you're catching another one coming out of the milking right now.
There.
Oh, look at that.
And then the gate closes behind her.
Yes, and then the gate on the other side just opened up, so that cow in there, when she's ready, she's gonna walk in and go get milked. So the sometimes
already let her.
Sometimes.
Sorry, I was saying so the first gate. Sorry, you go ahead, Emily.
Sorry. So like sometimes actually we're gonna get to see it all today. So a cow is coming through this gate, and we'll be able to see if she's ready to be milked. And she is, so it just let her into the area. Oh no, so she's not. So it kicked her back out. So she's been in here recently. So it said, you're not ready to be milked yet. So she's going back out, and now she's actually going to get brushed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, it's hard to see.
That's fantastic. Are we getting ready for questions? Okay. Emily, was there anything else you wanted to show us before we start throwing questions at you?
I don't think so. You guys got to see a lot today. You got to see the brushes, a cow coming out, cows going through the gate. So no, I think we're good.
Okay, so Emily, I have a question for you before anybody else can jump in.
Sure.
I'm very curious because you know so much about dairy, like dairy farming and dairy production. Did you grow up on a dairy farm yourself?
I actually did not. I grew up in New York about 40 minutes outside of New York City, and I didn't actually see a cow until I was 18. But when
Wow.
I went to university is when I really fell in love with dairy.
So,
And then you ended up in Saskatchewan. That's so cool.
Yes, I know. I know, it's crazy.
that's amazing. New York City to Saskatoon in a dairy barn. That's awesome. Okay, well, we have our first question. So good morning, everyone, from Kai in grade 12 at Lumsden. And he's right now in our cow-calf 10 class. That's awesome. And he's dreaming of being a dairy farmer. Well, we're so glad you're with us, Kai. This is great.
Yes, and I will tell you, I've fallen in love with it, so I understand why you want to work on a dairy.
That's fantastic. So how is the scraper pulled across the floor?
So it is automatic. It's actually like on a chain system. I'm sorry, I'm just looking to see if any are going across. But it's a chain system. So you'll see it drag really slowly across the floor. But it's all timed and automatic. How exactly it happens, I don't know if I know that. It's okay. The next question I see on the screen is
that's my fault.
It's okay.
Do the cows go outside?
Yes. Do the cows ever go outside? So the cows spend most of their time in this freestyle facility. We, again, are in a really cold climate, but in different parts of the world, there are different types of dairy facilities. Some places that do have their cows outside, but these cows do get to go outside for about 60 days once their milk cycle is finished. So they'll go outside for about 2 months or so.
So cows don't produce milk 12 months a year?
They don't. They have to have a baby to produce milk, and then their lactation cycle will end, and then they'll have about a 2-month rest in between their next lactation cycle. So they don't produce milk constantly.
Okay, very cool.
Yep.
And where does the milk go after it leaves your facility in Saskatoon?
So after it leaves our facility, it actually, even though we are a research facility, this is a normal dairy operation. So it goes to Saputo, and it'll be in your house within a day or two of leaving the facility.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, it's very
awesome.
fast.
So we have lots of questions for these guys. Make sure that you guys are sending your questions in. We'll make sure to pass them on to Emily. Here's one from Ryland from Osler. Ryland's in grade 3 and is wondering how tall and how much do cows weigh? Good question.
That is a good question. I am American, so this one I did not prepare for. But me standing next to a cow, I'm about 5'4", 5'5". Their backs are going to be close to the top of my head, so they're pretty tall. I can get back to you on how much they weigh, because I actually don't know in kilograms what they're gonna weigh, but they're a lot. They're over 1,000 pounds for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. Okay, and we have one from Brooke. Brooke is saying, what are we feeding them to get the best milk production? Good question, Brooke.
It's a really good question, and actually really awesome that you asked that at the Rayner Center specifically. We do research on nutrition because nutrition is so complicated. The answer to the best thing to feed them is a really complicated question because there's so much out there that we're still learning. So we actually have these blue feeder bunks where we do these trials. So we can put different types of feed in these bunks and kind of test them against each other. But we feed what's called a TMR, or total mixed ration, which is a lot of silage. So you'll see things like corn and wheat and barley and stuff like that in a normal dairy cow diet.
Awesome.
Awesome. Matthew is wondering if it matters what the color the cows are. And I think this was something Melissa was asking about earlier.
Yes.
So a lot of people think brown cows make chocolate milk, stuff like that. But the color of the cow is not relevant. They're just different breeds of cow. So different breeds of cow will produce different types of milk. So like Jersey cows, have you seen or heard of Jersey milk, like the candy bar? That's actually a type of dairy cow. These ones are the big black and white ones. These are called Holsteins. Okay. And Holsteins tend to have higher production, but Jersey cows tend to have higher butter fat. So they have different composition in different breeds. So really good question.
Great
Awesome.
question. Kiara has a question. What's the difference between an Angus cow and a dairy cow?
Oh, that is such a good question. So this is something when I lived in New York, I definitely did not know the answer to. But Angus cows are built way differently than dairy cows. So you can see these dairy cows are a bit angular, and the Angus cows have a lot of meat to them. So they've got a lot of fat on them. So they're built very differently. That's because they both do two different jobs. Angus cows are meant for beef production, and dairy cows are meant for milk production. So their bodies look quite different, and they're treated quite differently in terms of production.
Great question.
Really good question.
Awesome. Okay, this is Nicholas, and he's in grade 6, and he's asking, does the milk get pasteurized?
Yes, the milk does get pasteurized. So once the milk leaves here, it goes to Saputo, which is a processing plant that's outside of Saskatoon. And it's going to go into a pasteurizer. So it's going to be put on a high heat. It'll heat up really quickly and then cool down really quickly. And that's what's called pasteurization. So all milk that's sold at stores in Canada is pasteurized.
Very cool.
Yep.
We have another question. Do we have bulls or do we AI our cows? These kids know about cows.
I know.
Good job, guys.
Oh my gosh. I'm just laughing because I know when I was their age, I didn't even know what that meant. So we do use AI here. I would say it's pretty typical for most dairies to use AI. Having a bull at the facility can be quite dangerous. They are a lot to handle, and it's a bit safer for the cows and the people working just to do AI. Plus, it gives us a lot of options for breeding.
Right.
Yeah. And being part of a research facility, that would probably be something that's very important.
Right.
Good question, though. Easton from Hudson Bay in grade 1. That's awesome. So great question. He wants to know what happens to the baby cows.
That's a good question. So I wish we had a facility that we could show them, but because of where the catwalk is, we don't actually go into the calf barn. But the calves that are born at this facility, they go into a different barn. I like to call it like the maternity ward, where they all get their own stalls and they get extra special treatment. And then they grow up, and the girl cows will come back and either go back into this facility. So a lot of all of the cows that are in here were once a baby here, which is really cool. So they're here for a really long time. And then the bull cows will typically go into the beef industry.
Okay. And this might be a question kind of jumping back, but the two different sides, how do you decide which cow gets put into the either system?
That's kind of it's not really a decision. A lot of times, like, the research that's going on here will dictate where the cows are going. But there are some cows that just aren't designed to go with the robot. So the robot does everything that a human does to prep the cows for milking. But sometimes their udders can be weird shaped, so they don't really necessarily work as well in the robot system as they do on the conventional system.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome. What happens when a cow gets sick?
So we actually have some extra stalls in the front of the facility that are smaller. So it allows the farmer and the employees to give extra special care and attention to cows that aren't feeling well. Cows that are sick, we'll take care of, but typically their milk won't go into the same milk supply that the rest of the cows go into. So if they're being treated for any antibiotics or anything, that milk gets thrown away, but they do get extra special care and attention up in a different part of the facility.
So one of the things that we never talked about in terms of milk was how many servings a regular kid from age 9 to age 18 would be recommended to have in a day. Is that a fair question to throw at you? Because I did my research on this one.
You can go ahead and answer that. I definitely know much more about the research in the cows than I do human nutrition. So
I wish we had a poll, because I'd love to ask kids what the recommended number of servings of dairy are for kids age 9 to 18 in a day. Do you think it's 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or 4 to 5? I'll let you guys all guess in your heads.
I've got my answer.
I've got my answer.
What's your answer?
I guess 4 to 5.
I'm going to guess 3 to 4.
It's 3 to 4.
Yay!
Yeah. So 3 to 4 servings every day. So you're growing, your bones need that, and so it's 3 to 4 a day. So
Yes.
I think that was one thing we wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to know. Do we have more questions? Oh, great. We got lots, apparently. Okay. Juanita says, hello, I'm hi, I'm Arian. I was wondering if you still put tags on their ears, or do you just use the collars? And how old are they when you put the collars on?
So all that stuff happens when they're fairly young. So they'll get their collars or their tags right away. We do both here. So the tag system is a little bit different. That is, it's for traceability and identification, and it's kind of a secondary way to keep the farmers, make sure they keep track of everybody really well. The collars are not typical, not all dairy farms have those, but we have a lot of the technologies here and the research here. So those are really important on our facility specifically, because a lot of these machines, including these blue bunks, they'll read information off of the cow's collars in order to work properly.
Awesome.
Really good question though.
We're getting to the end, but we want to get as many questions in as we can, so we'll run through a few more. So Alexa's in grade 3. My dad used to haul milk with a semi to Saskatoon. That's awesome. Do you use a semi to take the milk away from your farm?
Yeah, so actually people like your dad will come to our facility, pick up the milk. So there's actually drivers that literally will drive all over just picking up milk and bringing it to Saputo. So we have a semi that comes. You guys have probably seen the milk trucks before. If you've seen a picture, I wish I could show you guys one. But if you've seen a picture, I'm sure you've seen it on the road somewhere at some point. But yes, they come every other day to come pick the milk up from here.
Very cool.
The question is, do the cows have names? Elliot is in kindergarten and would like to know.
They do all have names. It's actually part of registration. So when one of the babies are born, they get registered and they will get a name. I personally don't get to work with the cows enough to know all of their names, but they do have names here.
Fantastic. Brianna, grade 5, wants to know, do the cows have dentists check their teeth? Horse and people can.
So they will, if cows are showing signs of something, like you can sometimes tell that something's like achy or wrong with their mouths, the vets can look at their teeth. I don't know, this is something I can check up on for you guys, if it's as regular, like I know horses get their teeth floated regularly. I don't know that that's necessarily as common in the dairy industry, but I can double check and get back with you.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're down to the last one or two. Last one, I'm told. Okay, this is the last question. So the question is from Annika in grade 2, and she wants to know if cows like to play.
They do like to play. I'm trying to see if I can see any playing here. They definitely like to play. Sometimes, like when we're in there, they'll get a little excited and run around. But like, I know you guys won't be able to see this from here. Right now, there's one cow grooming another cow. Sometimes they'll like butt heads and play. They kind of like big dogs sometimes when they play. Really cute.
But great question. Oh, we have seen a lot today. I'm really impressed at how much ground we covered. Thank you so much, Emily.
Yes, thank you guys. This is so fantastic. We miss having everybody here, and we're gonna offer this from now on, honestly, so that we can get some of the people that maybe never were able to come to the Rayner Center before. So thanks for tuning in.
Well, the virtual experience of us being able to go into the barn has been just fantastic. And we want to make sure and thank Sask Milk and yourself and all of the crew at the Rayner Dairy Facility for letting us get inside and see it when it's not open to everybody right now. We're looking forward to getting there ourselves.
Right.
But today we want to thank you very much. And thank you guys at home for joining us and for putting all the questions in. You make it a real fun experience for all of us. So I think with that, we'd like to say thank you guys. If you'd like to see more of this kind of virtual field trip, we'll hang on for a minute on the other side. Please type in things that you'd like to see. And we would love to keep doing this kind of thing. Finally, thanks again, Emily, for making this such a great day.
Thanks for letting me do it. It was fantastic.
Great. Okay, take care. We'll do it again.
Bye.
Bye.